Transit TV, welcome back to our AFCON studios. Of course, today the group stage matches have been concluded. We now know the 12 teams, the 16 teams that will continue the competition. 16 have gone home today. And of course, it's been very intriguing. Today was a dull or tense day in the competition. The 4 games all ended in a draw, 0-0 draw. And we now know the 4 teams that will join the 12 that qualified. Of course, we're going to run through these teams as we go. I'm here today with my man Ubum to look at these teams and probably pick out a few of them we think that will make it to probably leave the trophy at the end of the tournament. Ubum, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you, Reggie. It's a pleasure. We're enjoying it, like you said. Now entering the crucial stages. Now is win or go home.
Yes, our viewers, you know the drill. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so and hit the like button, share our content. And of course, like you said, most of you guys are emotionally attached to this tournament. So let us know what you think about our views on this one. We're getting a lot of feedback from our viewers with regards to our content on the AFCON competition going on so far. So let us get on the way. Like I said, let me run through the teams that have qualified. You have in the Group A, you have Equatorial Guinea, one of the surprise teams of the tournament alongside Cape Verde, qualifying as the top group toppers in Group A, followed by Nigeria. They have 7 points both, but Equatorial Guinea scored more goals. They scored 6 goals. They have 6 goals, while Nigeria has +2. Of course, Cape Verde in Group B have 7 points as well, +4 goals difference, and they were followed by Egypt, who surprisingly qualified with 3 points and 0 goal difference. Ghana went home, of course, we know, with 2 points in that group. Senegal, good group toppers, and the tournament toppers so far at this stage, they have a maximum 9 points from 3 games, having +7 goals difference, and they are joined by Cameroon on 4 points -1. Then Angola, of course, in Group D, top that group is 7 points, +3 goal difference, and Burkina Faso joined them with 4 points, -1. Then Mali, Group E, 5 points, topping the group with 5 points. You can imagine how drab that group is. If the group winners have 5 points, +2 goals. And we are joined by South Africa. You remember at the beginning of this tournament, our covering of this AFCON, we had an episode covering what Eto said about that the Bafana in this competition. Nobody who knows what will be of them coming from now. And the last group, Morocco, top Group F with 7 points and 4 goals different. They are joined by DR Congo on 3 points. You know, in this tournament, we have automatic 12 teams that will qualify after the group stages, and they will be joined by 4 other teams on the category of best loser. That's the best third place teams in all the groups. And in this category, we have these 4 teams. The best qualified in this was Guinea. Guinea has 4 points, and they have -1 goal difference. This is based on my own our own rating in the studios. I hope we are correct. At the time of recording this episode, I've not accessed the official list from CAF. So they are followed by Namibia. Namibia also has 4 points and -3 goal difference. And of course, Mauritania has 3 points, -1 goal. And Ivory Coast has 3 points as well with -3. They narrowly, sneaked in there. Ubum, you have heard all this, and today we want to look at these teams and possibly figure out who we think will go all the way coming from now based on what they have done so far. And like I said, you have Equatorial Guinea, who have been high flyers in this competition, scoring goals with reckless abandon. They are with Nigeria and their group. Cape Verde, of course, the same thing. Egypt, we have always known they have pedigree in the tournament. They've struggled in the group stage. And I don't know if you want to count them out on this one. Senegal have been top performers with 9 points, maximum 9 points from 3 games. Cameroon sneaked in there too. We thought that the Cameroon was going to go home, but somehow they have made it. They have experience in this competition as well. And Mali, South Africa, Morocco as well, and DR Congo. So all these teams are still in the tournament. I don't know. What do you think as at this moment?
Well, it's already a tournament of surprises, and I think it will continue. Now, I also think that one of the teams that faced elimination, well, maybe not faced, one of the teams that did not
Almost.
quite or hasn't quite lived up to expectations may get to the final. I think so. One of either of
Cameroon, Egypt,
Nigeria or Cameroon or
Ivory Coast.
Egypt or Ivory Coast. One of those may get to the final because once you go past the first round, it's now where it's like a melting pot. It's now where experience starts to show.
Mhm.
Is where teams have gotten to play 2 or 3 games and have gotten to know, gotten a level of understanding, gotten a level of knowledge in terms of each other or one another. If, for people that haven't been playing together for a long time and playing in a tournament, so that team spirit is there now. The cohesion should be better. The approach to the game, the tactics should be spot on. There's better understanding of what the coaches want from them, and so it's to do or die. So credit to all the uh, countries that were underrated in the past, the Cape Verde and the rest of them uh, that are now in the quarterfinals. Now it's time to ball. Now it's time to be able to hold your nerves up until 70th minute, 80th minute, it's still 0-0.
Mhm.
How are you able to navigate the final 10 minutes? And that's where some of these countries that have done it over and over in the past, that's where they start to show that they are experienced, right?
Mhm.
Some will play for penalties. How prepared are you for penalties? I think that there may be quite a few penalties coming in this Nations Cup. So far, we haven't had any,
Mhm.
right? So it's time. I think there'll be some a fair number of penalty shootouts coming up right from this quarterfinal stage. So yes, it's delicately poised. I'm excited to see starting, and what better game to start the whole process than Cameroon playing against Nigeria?
Mhm.
It's going to be quite a game on Saturday to start the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I think I share your view on this. Is now is where you know who actually came for the tournament. You can within 3 points, one way result will go your way in other games, and you make it to this stage. Now you have to do it yourself. There's no relying on anybody to carry you through. I mean, Ivory Coast we are out of this tournament, but because results went their way today, they are in it again. So now you have to do it yourself, and. Like you said, it's been a tournament of surprises. And Cape Verde, they have done really well, but you see, they were conceding goals as well. Equatorial Guinea, the same thing, they scored goals, but they were also conceding. There is only Senegal that I know that has really had some superior performances, both defensively and attacking wise. So it's going to be a, a tricky one, a fierce one again. This tournament, one thing you will not take away from this tournament so far is the commitment the players have shown and the kind of energy and power that has been on display all through this tournament. So everybody, you have to be ready. You got to be ready or you're out. Like you said, and this is the reason why okay, let me ask you before I say my view. Like if they ask you, put your money on 3 teams that you think that will go all the way, who and why would you pick those teams?
Okay. Based on what I've seen so far, I'll put my money on Nigeria.
Mhm.
Nigeria, not just because I'm a Nigerian, but because I've seen a team that are happy and comfortable defending their goal. Defense always really matters in tournaments like this. So they are street smart. They're pretty comfortable, soaking up pressure and hitting on the counter. I think is a more conservative approach. And they haven't yet played the likes of Kelechi Iheanacho, who, if he's fit, will give you goals. He hasn't played so far because he was injured prior to the tournament. If Kelechi becomes fit, then it's a key factor for Nigeria moving forward because he's a very smart player, high IQ, and very efficient. So I'll put my money on Nigeria. I'll put my money on Morocco. Morocco because they are just loaded from back to forward, and they also have the smarts. They've gone far in the World Cup. It's still the same group of players, talented, playing for top clubs, and there are options everywhere for them. So I forgot them when I was talking about dangerous teams in the tournament earlier. The last team I'll put my money on would be Senegal. Senegal because right now they are the kings of African football, top to bottom. Youth teams, mid-level teams, high teams, adult teams, whatever. Senegal are dominating. It's their moment. They are enjoying it. They're enjoying the ride. They have options everywhere again. Hardworking midfielder, skillful, and they have the talisman, Sadio Mane doing his thing, pulling his strings. So Senegal are a highly dangerous side. The likes of Cape Verde, who have been very, very impressive. The likes of Mali and the rest of them. You see, there's a difference when it comes to when you are an overachiever. It takes a different level to keep overachieving when you started, right? Right now, any of those teams can go home with their heads held up high, right? Country they'll be highly they'll receive as heroes in their countries because they've already surpassed what they've done in the past. So it will take a different level of motivation to not settle for what you've gotten. Like if the game is tight, you're like, oh well, even if we lose this game, we've done well, we've tried, we've surpassed our expectations. Everybody will celebrate us. Everybody's already celebrating us. So we don't really have to win. Right? It takes a different level of motivation to do that. So that's where I think there's a potential banana skin for this new these countries that are overachieving at the moment. I wonder whether their coaches and their psychologists and all that can still motivate them to keep fighting and keep that level and of intensity and fight to be able to win the tournament. So yeah, let me stop there. Those three teams I would predict.
For me, I agree with you on Nigeria. I don't know why from the first game I saw them, like I said, they have not been overly good in the eye, but I've always seen them as a team that can go all the way, not because I'm in Nigeria, but because of what I have seen. Because the commitment they have shown in this tournament is second to none. These players, the team has not played like a team that has a pattern of play, but you have seen that the players have a commitment. Is a personal project for them, and they have unity. The likes of Victor Osimhen, who is the biggest star in the team, has not carried himself about whinging or showing, making it look like he's bigger than the other players. He has humbled himself and being on the same level with the other players. So this is a very good omen for the team. And again, Victor Osimhen has scored goals. In the last 2-3 years. He has scored goals in tougher competitions and teams. He gave Napoli, we know, their first Scudetto in I can't remember how many years he took them before, so he did that. So I expect him to come to life at this stage of the tournament. He has had chances, but sometimes if you really want to be very analytical, you could see that some of those chances we are not very clear. Some of them the balls were a little bit behind him, so other ones he had to go for area duel to create the chances for himself. So I expect, like you said, the team to improve a little bit going forward in terms of political chances they are creating, which will make it easier for him to score goals. So I believe Victor Osimhen is going to come to life at this. And this is time for him to show himself, which I know and I believe by now he would have worked on his patience and his emotions to a little bit, to kind of take it a little bit easier. And I expect the likes of Chukwueze, Iheanacho, like you mentioned, to kind of add up numbers going forward to give him options. And based on that, and of course, defensive, Nigeria has been the best team in this tournament. I think, I don't have the number, but I believe so, because they have only considered one goal all to the tournament. So, and that is not something that you can, just overlook. So, I believe Nigeria is up there in the top three to go all the way. Senegal, of course, you cannot overlook them. They are doing marvelously in the continent in all categories. And in the tournament so far, they're the only team that have 100% winning ratio. So you cannot overlook that. They have been strong defensively as well, like you mentioned. And I don't expect them to do anything worse than that going on from now. Though I have to look at who they're going to meet in the next stage. Then another team that I'm very, very two teams that I'm tempted to kind of tip to go to the finals is Egypt and the Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, if you watch their last game, they were dangerous going forward. But somehow, I think the coach changed the team that played the first two games. And that's where he got it wrong. I remember I told you Willy Bolly was on the bench for the first two games. I don't know how he found himself in certain lineup for the final game, and he messed. The defense was shambles. If you watch that game, clearly Ivory Coast didn't do badly, but they were just something just didn't click for them behind. The likes of Fofana was kept driving the team and made a lot of dangerous push, up front. So I kind of feel that they might come through having made it to this stage. Egypt had a good display, but I think the only thing that made it difficult for them to qualify was they were slick in the eye. They didn't come with this tournament. Has a lot of power play in it. There's a lot of physicality in this tournament. So Egypt probably will sit up in that area. Other than that, they looked good in the eye and had what it took to break teams down. But defensively, or in terms of the battles in the midfield, they kind of were not up for it. I expect them to sit up, having qualified to this stage. Like you said, these guys they know the artistic side of African football, and most of the time they use it to win games. So with the experience that they have, the likes of Mahrez being in the team, I expect them to be one of the teams that could go all the way. And just like you mentioned, my dark horses in this tournament will be Equatorial Guinea. These guys look very solid, though not very experienced, in terms of this group, but they look solid. They are scoring goals, and defensively they're not like as good as Nigeria, but they are not minnows when it comes to defensive play as well. So between them and Cape Verde, these are the two teams that I believe could, with the kind of confidence Cape Verde is playing with, they can win games. They are not scared of losing. They're not scared of conceding, and they are scoring as well. So these are the teams I'm looking at to kind of make it to the finals. Then let's look at, is there any player that has stood out for you, and why? Maybe a couple of them or three players. I don't know if you have the numbers you have in your head.
I'll just take them country by country. There are some that I haven't watched completely to be able to point out players. Nigeria, Ola has been immense for me for Nigeria. Yeah, I like what he's doing. He's incredible. Ivory Coast, Sekou Fofana plays for Lens, played for Lens, former Lens captain now in Saudi Arabia, has been outstanding.
Yeah, he's been driving that team forward.
I've enjoyed watching him. Talking about Morocco, Hakimi has been great for them. I've watched, in addition to the other guys that are playing well, Unahi and Hakimi have been great for Morocco, and they are the usual suspects. They also played really well in the World Cup. Amrabat hasn't been himself at all, but he's been. But Hakimi and Unahi for Morocco For Cameroon, there's this guy that the dreadlocked guy that takes their free kicks, takes all their set pieces. Very hardworking guy, has set up a few goals with his pullouts. A lot of times the pullout, doesn't quite. But for some reason, Morocco, as I'm like Cameroon, seems to earn a lot of set pieces in their games, either free kicks or corner kicks or thereabout. So he's been very instrumental. I'm trying to recall his name, but he's a dreadlock guy that serves as a playmaker for the team. Um, I'm trying to recall the other teams that I've watched extensively.
Yeah, I
Of
think.
course, for Equatorial Guinea, Nsue
Yeah, I was
has
good. I was good. I was good.
has scored 5 goals. Yeah.
Yeah, I think these are all these players. And Sue, for me, has stood out so far in the tournament because he has scored goals, not what some people call lucky goals. You can see that he's a goal scorer. He is a goal scorer. He has carried that team with his goals. So I'm not going to ignore what he has done so far. This is a tournament that players have found it difficult to score goals. For him to show up with 5 goals so far in 3 games, you cannot overlook that performance. And like you, of course, that you
Would
said,
you would you believe that he plays right full back for his club?
wow.
He's a right
Wow.
back for his club.
Wow. You know, wow. Then, of course, Nigeria, I know I've been
Mm.
very, very impressed with what he has done so far in for the team. I know has stood out for me in the Nigerian team. The goalkeeper too has been solid. He has been vocal. He's been focused. He's been strong at the back for the team. And like you mentioned in Senegal, of course, Mane has been a leader. Ivory Coast, Fofana, if Ivory Coast has done anything this tournament and if they will do going forward, everything depends on that guy. And sometimes I even
Yes.
think that is even doing too much. He's carrying too much. He's just
Mm.
almost playing in every position. I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, don't you have your role in the team? Are you going to be everywhere? He's
Mm.
been immense for Ivory Coast to remain in the tournament. Is all credit to him. I don't care what anybody is going to say. That young man has been immense. I know you like him a lot. You've even said that Arsenal should. Remember when you were, campaigning that Arsenal should go for him in the
Yes.
midfield. He's been driving the team and has done really, really, really very good for Ivory Coast. And those are my picks so far for the team. For
Of course, not to forget Mohamed Kudus for Ghana.
for Ghana, yeah, of
He's been
course.
scoring, he's doing well.
Yeah, Cape Verde, I'm not going to pick anybody, I'll pick the team. Cape Verde have been a team of play. For me, if there's any player that has done well, it's the team. The way those guys have conducted themselves so far in the tournament, considering their experience, is something that has to be recognized in any way, shape, or form. I think that's that, Avia. So what we just did on this show is to let you know how the tournament, the stage we are right now. We are going into the knockout stages. These teams are the teams that have qualified to move on into the tournament. I think from here now you have 3 games to the finals. So it's all comers now. Either you're in or you're out. There is no hanging in the balance anymore. There is no depending on somebody somewhere to have good result to favor you. Either you win or you lose. You lose, you go home. You win, you keep pushing. So we wish. Naturally, we're from Nigeria. Of course, we wish the Super Eagles good luck. And of course, I know our brothers from South Africa. At the beginning of this coverage of AFCON, we had our show. I had the review of some Eleto's question about our national team. And you guys have made it to the knockout stages. And one will only wish that the Bafana will probably answer those questions from here. They should have a vintage approach from now going forward. So I would not be surprised if Bafana as well hold their own at this stage, at least make it to the semi-finals or quarterfinals, the case may be. So our viewers, you have heard our picks for possible teams that will make it to the finals. We have picked our players, best performance in the tournament so far. And I don't know, let us know what you think, what your picks will be for the nations and the players that have done well and the teams that probably will make it to the finals. Let us know what you think. If you agree with us or you have your own picks, let us know in the comment section and we will discuss those in our next coverages. Like Ugu mentioned earlier, the knockout stage starts on Saturday with Nigeria play locking horns with Cameroon. that match, is always going to be a sellout in this continent. So stay on Transit TV. For those of you who don't watch these games live, we'll bring you highlights and in-depth analysis about that game when the game comes and go. If it's possible, if time permits, we'll probably review the game before Saturday. But if not, we shall be back in the studios to look at how that game panned out, and of course, we would have known who won and who lost, and we move on from there to continue coverage of the AFCON from the Transit studios. Yeah, Ugum, we'll round up, and thank you for stopping by again.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Look forward to the next show.
Yes, sir, and we'll see you guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done so. We are seeing the subscription so far is going up. We are still on the project 5,000 subscribers. The African continent is supporting Transit. We really appreciate you, and we continue to appreciate and appeal to you to keep supporting Transit, subscribing and listening to our shows and giving us your views. I also want to mention we have our Africa Talent Expo. I'm sure most of you have seen it on our social media handles. If you have any word that is a grassroots player in Africa that you're trying to push, we have a project going on that we are raising a pool of talent all across Africa to expose them to the database of FIFA license agents. So please go and check out our social media handles, Transit TV on Facebook, Transit TV on Twitter, Transit TV, of course, on Instagram, and get the information and send in your entries and give yourself a chance to expose your talent to the footballing world and get recruited by the top teams all across the world. Thank you, and see you guys. Ciao.